I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, Mrs. Burns, please.
Mrs. Hallenbeck?
Present.
Mr. Cirillo?
Here.
Mr. Allen is absent with prior notice. Mrs. Bowman?
Here.
Mr. Kovitz?
Here.
Mrs. Lafferty?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Sporny?
Here.
And Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, issues related to labor relations, the purchase or lease of real property, matters related to litigation, and matters related to school safety and security. Any announcements, Mrs. Burns?
No announcements.
Superintendent's report, Mr. Bowman.
Thank you, Ms. Allenbach. A lot of great things going on in the district. Maple Point Middle School, in partnership with the Barkin Family Healing Hearts Foundation, will hold its 6th annual Mother's Day Walk on May 5th here at Maple Point Middle School. Students will walk with their classmates in support of some very special moms who are in need at this time. Thank you to the Maple Point staff and to Mike Barnes for organizing this event and continuing to support our community. Yesterday, a group of 50 8th grade students and their chaperones from Maple Point Middle School arrived at Parks Casino at 5 a.m. to join the Bucks County Tour of Honor trip to Washington, D.C. to support the veterans. The bus convoy was given a police escort to the Delaware state line. The tour entered and exited the World War II Memorial, the Korean War Veterans Memorial, and the Vietnam War Veterans Memorial, greeting them and thanking them for their service to our country. Upon the tour's return to Bensalem, a group of choir members from Maple Point sang the national anthem at a hero's welcome dinner for the veterans at Parks Casino. Many thanks to Maple Point's English teacher, Carol Foley, who organized this year's trip, and music teacher, Paul Tosti, who organized the choral group. As I'm sure many of you have seen, there's been significant progress on our fields project. Our new multi-purpose field is in place. The lines and yard markers for various sports are being installed. The tennis courts have been fenced, and the surface is being prepared. Installation of the bleachers and turf in the stadium has also begun, and the home side stands are really shaping up. Completion of the stadium is scheduled for the middle to end of May, and the current plan is to hold our graduation ceremony there in June. Congratulations to our school board for our recent groundbreaking to our new elementary school here at the Maple Point campus. It was great to host past board members as well, and hopefully in September 2024, we will be opening a new state-of-the-art elementary school here at Maple Point. Our favorite time of year is here. It's PSSA testing. PSSA tests take place this week and next week. Neshaminy High School's academic recognition ceremony takes place Thursday evening, where we will recognize the top 5% of the class. It's always a very impressive event. And once again, our music department has been recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants and received a Best Communities for Music Education Award. To all the music teachers in the district, thank you for your part in making Neshaminy a great place to be a kid. And that's all I have, Ms. Hollenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Anybody signed up for public comment?
Yes, David Williams?
Podium.
Go to the podium, yep, hit the red button, state your name, area you reside. You have 3 minutes, no personal attacks, please.
All right, good evening. My name is David Williams, President, Feasterville Fire Company and resident of Feasterville. I'm here just to speak on behalf of the proposed first responders real estate tax credit. So as people may or may not be aware, but maintaining membership within the volunteer fire service has become more and more challenging over the years. So I can speak for all the first responders in the room. You know, we appreciate this being proposed and we look forward to your support on the referendum. End of comment.
Tom Seckinger?
Hello, my name is Tom Seckinger, resident of Feasterville. I have lived in Feasterville 30 of my 34 years of life. I love this area. I love Neshaminy School District. I'm an 07 Neshaminy grad. Recently, we were made aware that Mr. Modica is leaving Furtherbar Elementary. To my sadness, I have enjoyed Mr. Modica. I have enjoyed Mr. Modica. He is a great guy. He's great to deal with. The kids seem to love him, and it's a shame to lose him. The hiring of Miss Doherty, unfortunately, has me a little concerned. There are multiple problematic, for using a proper term, tweets and very public-facing issues that were connected to an account of hers tied to Central Bucks School District, discussing very, very divisive issues. I have saved the tweets. They are still up. She's obviously not ashamed of them. They are public-facing. I don't have a Twitter account. I was able to find them via a 30-second Google search. I was hoping that this nonsense, the culture war, as people call it, stayed away from Neshaminy. I would like it to stay away from Neshaminy. As I said, I chose this area because I thought this area was very fair. I got a great education. I enjoyed everything about being in this area as long as possible. I do not want my children growing up being told that this area is not what I had. So I'm hoping that this board either vetted Ms. Doherty or that these issues were encountered prior to me finding them. I'm hoping this is not the first time you guys are made aware of these issues, and that either you have made reassurances or she's made reassurances that this will not come into the classroom, because again, these public comments that she made discuss about the classroom and how appropriate it would be to discuss these things in the classroom. I would just like my children to grow up being children. I would like them to get the education that I got and enjoy their time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Steve Link.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Link. I'm the president of the Langhorne Middletown Fire Company. I live in Swan Point, so I'm resident of Langhorne. Wanted to be able to thank you very much for entertaining the first responders real estate tax. As you see, we have a group of our first responders here from north and south throughout our school district here. Do want to be able to say that this school district, from what I understand, is going to be one of the first school districts to be able to, if you do approve this, to be able to approve the real estate tax for volunteer firefighters. And I think this is something that is that you guys should be very, very proud of. As you know, volunteer firefighters are few and far between. Our numbers are dwindling. Everything and anything that can be done, any sort of level, is very much appreciated. I want to thank you very much. Thank you.
No further sign-ups.
Thank you. I'd like to make a master motion for Section 2, Routine Matters, 2.01 Minutes, 2.02 The Treasurer's Report, 2.03 Check, Register, and Procurement Card Purchases, 2.04 Investments, 2.05 Exonerations. There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bowman. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote passes 8-0. Personnel. 3.01 Retirements, Resignations, End of Assignments. And 3.02 Revised Leaves of Absence. I'd like to make a motion for the master motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sullivan. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 8-0. Mr. Sullivan, please.
Before I make the master motion for Section 4, I would like to say under 4.01, there are a number of retirements for people who have long-term service with the district, and I'd like to note those. Patricia Andrusco, 36 years. Linda Curley, 32 years. Diane Hanna, 32 years. Jacqueline Hidalgo, 20 years. Rosemary Horsley, 27 years. Kimberly May, 30 years. Amy Neff, 37 years. Beth Sanchez, 30 years. I'd now like to make a master motion to approve items 4.01, retirements, resignations, end of assignments, 4.02, appointments, 4.03, leaves of absence, 4.04 revised leaves of absence, 4.05 co-curricular resignations, 4.06 co-curricular appointments.
There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Kovitz. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Vote passes 8-0. I would like to make a master motion for 5.01, retirements, resignations, end of assignments. I would like to point out that Donna Tolbert, thank you, 23.9 years, and Cheryl Vornhold with 34.7 years. Thank you for your dedication to the district. 5.02, appointments. 5.03, leaves of absence. 5.04, revised leaves of absence. There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cirillo. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote passes 8-0. 6.01, Mr. Sullivan, please.
6.01, acceptance of the 2021-2022 audit report. Whereas the audit for the Neshaminy School District for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2022 has been prepared by Zelenkowski Axelrod LLC. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the attached audit report for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2022, in accordance with Section 24-2408 of the School Code, and there is one attachment.
There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please? Second by Mrs. Bowman. For those of you that were here at the work session, there was a detailed report about the audit, and it is on the website. If anybody has any questions or concerns about that, it was gone over the last meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Vote passes 8-0. 6.02, Mrs. Bowman, please.
I'd like to make a motion, 6.02, First Responders Real Estate Tax Credit. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the attached resolution for the First Responders Real Estate Tax Credit. And there is a file attached with the particulars of the tax credit.
There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Cindy, do you want to say a few words about how we got here and the debate about it and just how it happened?
I do. So this went into law last March in Pennsylvania, allowing municipalities and school districts to provide retention and recruitment incentives to first responders, specifically a tax rebate or tax credit. So we discussed it in business operations back in, I believe, last March and April, and we finally brought it to the floor. Do you want me to go into the particulars about it? No? Okay. So what it would allow is an $800 rebate for first responders that make 25% of activity, and this will help in the retention of first responders. We want to acknowledge that we appreciate your dedication to the safety and your commitment to our community and our schools. So we discussed it, we moved it out, and it's the recommendation from the business ops group that this is a great program and we'd like to see it go forward.
Thank you. Anybody else? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Vote passes 8-0. Mr. Kovitz, Section 7, please.
You got it. I'd like to make a master motion for 7.01, Special Education Plan, 7.02, Contract Addendum Lakeside, 7.03, Homebound Instruction, 7.04, Out-of-District Placements, 7.05, ESSER Revision, 7.06 overnight trips, and 7.07 2023 summer programs.
Thank you, Mr. Kovitz. There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please? Second by Mrs. Bowman. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Vote passes 8-0. Section 8, Mr. Cirillo.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 8.01, second reading of policy. Whereas the first reading of policy 114 and 827 was completed at the March 28th, 2023 public board meeting, and whereas the following board policies are being recommended by the policy committee for a second reading and final adoption into the Neshaminy School District Policy Manual, and now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy School Board of Directors hereby approves the policies noted below for final adoption into the Neshaminy School District Policy Manual. They are Section 114, Gifted Education, and Section 827, Conflict of Interest.
Thank you, Mr. Cirillo. There's a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Vote passes 8-0. This evening, we do have one motion under other board business, 9.01. Whereas at the April 26, 2022 Neshaminy School District Board meeting, the Board of School Directors approved the Tawanka Library Bowman Recognition Plaque and the Stephen J. Parentano Memorial Plaque to be completed by June 30th, 2023. And whereas it is requested that the completion date for these plaques be extended until June 30th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the extension to complete these plaques by June 30th, 2024. There is a motion on the floor. May I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Sullivan. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Vote passes 8-0. This brings us to our second public comment. If anybody would like to come up to the podium, feel free. You have 3 minutes. Okay, moving right along. Any board comment? Mr. Rodriguez. I'm sorry, before I start with you, I'm supposed to start with Mr. Bowman.
No.
Mr. Bowman, do you have?
Thank you, Ms. Hollenbach. I have nothing.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Give me your minutes there. Just wanted to recognize also the Neshaminy Music Bequest Middle School Select Choir. Under the direction of Mr. Jason Lee, was one of the very few schools groups to be invited to perform at the 2023 Pennsylvania Music Educators Association Conference at the Kalahari Resort and Convention Center this past Friday. In addition, Neshaminy was also well presented at the high school level in the PMEA, as well as the band, orchestra, and choir. Also, this past week, Tawanka Elementary School celebrated Autism Acceptance Week. It is my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the teachers, Ms. Shelby Rothman and Ms. Sarah King, had a fundraiser and raised $1,044. For the Puzzle Pieces Squared organization, which supports families with autism. The students took part in spreading the love theme, as Tawanka classrooms were available to visit the True and False interactive bulletin board. The students learned lessons about autism in their classrooms, sparked conversation, and held a Q&A session with Ms. Rothman and Ms. King. Each student created a unique puzzle piece that represented themselves and autism. The puzzle pieces were a part of the school-wide mural of heart, and if you go to their social media website, it's actually very beautiful to see. So, and also, good luck to the students this week with their PSAAs. Thank you.
Public comment? Mr. Smorty?
Yes, I just wanted to bring up that we recently this weekend, we had our 30th anniversary of the Neshaminy Sports Hall of Fame class. So I just wanted to run through them real quick to pay their respects, to pay my respects. So baseball, Rick Brebner, class of 2010. Basketball, someone who we might know, Ryan Archidiacono, 2012. Kelsey Ryan, 2010. Bowling, John Margison, 2010. Brianna Episcopo, 2009. Field hockey, Heather Golaski, 95. Pequescent graduate, along with myself. Football, Paul Carazola, 2009. Indoor track, Nick DeFeo, 2008. Allison Morris, 2007. Soccer, Jared Sahusky, class of 2000, a dear friend of mine. Jennifer Hutchison, 2009. Softball, Lisa Marie Ramigley, 2006. Tennis, Jill Arish Mundinar, 1986. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that. 1986, tennis. Track, Cody Mining, 2013. Christine Denise, 2010. Cross country, Laura Histard, 2010. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Sporny. Anyone else? I just would like to make one comment. I forgot to acknowledge Paul Mahoney, who is retiring with 30-plus years of experience. Thank you for all of your dedication to Neshaminy. With that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. May I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Kovitz. Thank you. Have a good night.